Hello, dear viewer. I don't have an intro prepared. Sorry, I couldn't think of anything. I'll work hard to do better in the future. I asked my dearest viewers to send me their favorite love songs as a psyop to expand my love song repertoire, and today I'm going to rank them on this tier list here based on how well I think the song encapsulates that lovey-dovey feeling. Without further ado, let's hop into the first track. Noah Petrovsky 2432 says, Empty Friend by Failure. To be honest, Failure's a band I think that didn't truly kind of find their sound until Fantastic Planet. That album, I'll agree, is pretty peak, but nothing before that does too much for me. It's not an incredibly unique sound, to be honest. It's solid in all aspects. There's just nothing really hooking me here. This might be the most B-tier track to have ever B-tiered.
I love you, you love me.
Gumpo6T says, I Love You by Barney the Dinosaur. Be super for real with me, Gump06T. Are you sending this song to your partner? I don't think you are. I probably wouldn't. I'm 2,000 years old. Does this song have a little nostalgic charm to it? Sure. Right after the nostalgia washes over me, I remember I'm listening to a grown man in a purple dinosaur costume. B-tier track. RJ Scooper says, Stay Forever by Ween. Were there a LeBron James, or perhaps a Lionel Messi, or perhaps a Tom Brady, perhaps a Shohei Ohtani of love songs? I think this is my answer. Granted, if you read The Passive Effect of my Ween bias, you know every Ween song is boosted by about 1.5 times in my head. That being said, this is the greatest shit ever, man. By far my favorite track off of White Pepper, and genuinely a banger. This is Game, dear viewer. Part Hard M9B says Joey by Concrete Blonde. Very 80s core track, I must say, though it did release in 1990, but that sentence makes a lot of sense to me. It's got a pretty great sound, really well produced for its time, and a fairly sweet track. I'll say A-tier stuff. Spherical 9170 says As by Stevie Wonder, another all-time classic, to be frank. Stevie Wonder, the king of vibes, as I proclaimed on March 29th, 2026. Doesn't really miss on songs in the key of life. Every song's a banger, every song is lyrically beautiful, and they all sound unique. You can't go wrong with a single track on this album. This is Game. I'm gonna put it behind Ween. Uncluddy H9T says Waiting for Love by Avicii. Never really understood the love for this guy's music, to be honest. Nothing against the guy. I know he's got many fans. Doesn't do too much for me. Sounds like it exclusively could have dropped exactly when it did, and just didn't age all that well, I wouldn't say. I'm gonna say C-tier track. Above Barney.
Anyway, I'm proud of you up in advance, and thank you again for letting me have.
I'm Late to School says Happy Breakup Song by Femdot, a different and uglier side of love. Solid, but I don't know if I'd consider it a love song, though now I'm questioning my definition of a love song, and I'm not sure how to move forward. Certainly not your typical love song. Not a bad angle on one, I wouldn't say. That's really the only thing I found interesting about this track. The beat is super average, some shit I'd grab off the royalty-free music page. Lyrically, pretty sound stuff, though. I'll say top of the C tier. Andyman KB17 says This Is the Time by Billy Joel. One of my favorite songs from him, and there's a wonderful story of a couple staying strong, even though the things that brought them together are being torn down. I've never really been huge on 80s Billy Joel, to be honest. This is certainly a highlight of that era, but not really competing with a lot of his 70s stuff, I wouldn't say. Pretty beautiful track, though, lyrically very sweet. You still got Billy Joel with the pen and paper, so that's certainly a plus. But sonically, certainly not competing with his earlier stuff, like I said. I'm gonna go back of A tier, I think. Leo Pacare says Liar by Paramore. It's way harder now that we know Hayley Williams and Taylor York's relationship went downhill shortly after the song came out. Very solid stuff here. It's a very tender song, very vulnerable stuff from Hayley Williams here. But if we're talking love songs, I think we've got several better directions we could head in, Paramore guy. How about this? Or this maybe, or even one of these. They just scream love a little louder to me, but this is a very sweet track. Top of the A tier, I think. From Breaks06 says Just Like Heaven by The Cure. That lead guitar makes me ascend, and Robert's vocals are as passionate as ever here. The whole song feels like a dream that ends as soon as it starts, which perfectly fits the lyrics. Even my Ween bias can't defeat this cartoonishly large W right here. This is one of the GOATs. This is the LeBron. I lied before. Stay Forever is the Jordan, I'm afraid. Actually, this one's older. This one's probably the Jordan. This is the sweetest shit of all time. Delivered by a man so in love, you can almost hear it in his voice. The Cure's magnum opus, if you ask a tender young man like myself. Top of This Is Game. I Snort Crouton says, Easier by Quedeca, an emotionally vulnerable song over a soft acoustic guitar, summed up by the line, I want you because you're easier than nothing. Very unique production on this track, and I think that's probably what people love so much about Quedeca's music. If you get it, you get it. You know what I mean? But I don't get it. No, I mean, this is very solid stuff. I feel like I would have enjoyed this much more maybe 5 years ago. I think the lyricism comes off a little corny, to be honest. But other than that, it holds up as a song for sure. I'll say back of the beat here. Mr. Robot Rock says, Digital Love by Daft Punk. Certified classic. Certified classic for sure. I've been a long-time Daft Punk hater after I narrowly survived what I will now dub as the Get Lucky incident. But everything else I hear from this guy is absurdly peak. Fantastic love song right here. Lyrically super sweet, and it's a fucking banger. That's the word. Banger. Back of This Is Game. Zonia2535 says, God Only Knows by the Beach Boys. This is the best love song ever. There is no argument. I don't know about all that, big dog. All-time classic for sure. Perhaps in the conversation, okay. But the all-time GOAT? The LeBron, the Otani, the Messi? I don't know, man. Great track, though. The Beach Boys in their prime, delivering a super banger. Beautiful shit. I think this is back of that tier. Bucket List Brandman says, All I Need by Radiohead. Piano is so haunting, the lyrics make me feel really sad and not in a fun way. Exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't send this to someone I love, I don't think. Super dark song, man. I understand your confusion here. I was once where you sit today, but just reading these lyrics on a paper without Tom's gorgeous vocals to soften the words a little bit, the song reads completely different. It's a beautiful track, were that the word, but that's not the word. Banger? But no shot. I'm not sending this to anybody. Rilla Freiser says Seminary by Racing Mount Pleasant, one of the most underrated songs from last year. This is really sweet shit right here. I've thoroughly enjoyed a lot of what these guys have put out, whether under Racing Mount Pleasant or Kingfisher. These fellas just write some absurdly beautiful shit. Best way I can describe it is Black Country New Roads with more soothing vocals. And that's a recipe for success, dear viewer. Back of This Is Game. Ascendez says, I Think About You All the Time by Deftones. Absurdly peak shit right here. My love for the Deftones is no secret, but this song is genuinely a testament to why I love these guys so much. Drop a song this peak 30 years into your career is genuinely, and this is the best word I could think of, bonkers. It's bonkers shit. Incredibly sweet shit. Angelic vocals from Chino. Beautiful guitar. This is peak. This is game. I'm going to go behind Stevie. Tinka69 says, Everybody Here Wants You by Jeff Buckley. I'd literally never send a love song to anyone, but if I did, I guess it'd be this one. Beautiful song for a beautiful lady, I guess. First of around 1,000 Jeff Buckley mentions in this video, but I completely understand why. The beautiful voice, the brilliant lyricism, the everything, to be honest. Guy was just in his fucking bag. Such a sweet track, albeit a bit horny. Maybe save this one for a later date, but incredible track. Behind White Pepper in the GOAT tier. Luke Snow, V1M says Still Remains by Stone Temple Pilots. Some of Scott's best lyrics, for sure. SDP my goats, for real, but I've slightly soured on this song as I've gotten older. For starters, it was remastered in 2019, and it's still kinda mixed like shit. You get your speakers super, super loud, you can get this song going. I agree, I do really enjoy the lyricism on this track. One of the best love songs of the grunge movement, I'd say. I'm gonna say S tier. Metalman4133 says Closer by Nine Inch Nails. Cute love song. Absurdly good track. But you ever see that guy in the car? Maybe it's Kodak Black, I can't remember, but he's looking back at the camera. That's kind of how I feel. A track right off the darkest record I've ever heard in my life. Not sure I see the love angle, unless perhaps you're in love with the Antichrist. Below Barney. Grayson Brooks K70 says Everlong by the Foo Fighters. I love this song so much. This is peak stuff right here. Easily the best track of the post-grunge era, though it's 98% slop. This is far from slop, though. Quite honestly, one of the most iconic rock songs ever written. Really sweet lyrics, delivered pretty damn well by Mr. Dave Grohl. All-time classic track. I'm gonna go behind Stevie, and this is game. Now all these tastes improve through the view that comes. Kona Peep says Sweet Avenue by Jets to Brazil. Pretty solid stuff right here, I think. I don't go too much further. Just a very solid acoustic rock track. I'm not gonna say it's the cream of that crop. This wasn't a painful listen by any means. It's sweet stuff. I'm not sure I'll remember this in a week, but I had fun. Back of the beat here. Eve Starvey Official says Luna by the Smashing Pumpkins. Billy really knows how to make Yearning for Love into an amazing song. Correction, Billy knew how to make Yearning for Love into an amazing song. He no longer knows, but when he did know, he knew. One of my favorite love songs of all time, I'd say. It's just some of the sweetest shit ever written, to be honest. Beautiful guitar work to back it up. And the same dreamlike production you get throughout the entirety of Siamese Dream. Maybe a little on the nose, but this is certainly a game, dear viewer. I'm going to say behind White Pepper. Noah Petrovsky 2432 says Duvet by Boa. Super banger for sure. Not sure I've ever really sat with the lyrics here, but after sitting with the lyrics here, this is some beautiful stuff. Really sweet song about falling in love, if I had to guess. And while it certainly tackles some darker aspects of love, the instrumentation here gives it this light, almost floaty feeling. It's peak stuff. I'd say top of the S tier. Logical Pancake says The Rain Song by Led Zeppelin. All-time classic from Led Zeppelin right here. I've never been quite as high on this track as I've seen a lot of other people, but that's not saying this track doesn't fuck right here. It fucks. Incredible instrumentation and some really strong production, especially considering its release date. Very sweet stuff as well. I don't know if this is game, but top of the S tier makes sense to a guy like me.
One reason or another couldn't find peace at home. She asked, why do men always have to stray?
Cyborg 4234 says Faithful by Common. Banger from Common, Grass is Green, and the Sky is Blue. Well, at least on this record. This is peak stuff. Produced by, I believe, Jay Dilla. Sorry if I'm wrong. You've got that guy in his prime. You've got Common in his prime. You've got Kanye involved somewhere. You're getting a banger. Absolutely elite production and some very solid bars from Common here. Great track. Some sweet shit I could actually see as a playable card back of This Is Game. Rudiger Arnold says Entombed by Deftones. Another all-timer from these Deftone fellas. It's no secret that while Diamond Eyes is their horniest record, Koneo Kan is by far their most tender, their most poetic, and quite frankly, their most beautiful. Indescribably sweet track, beautiful guitar work, and Chino in both his poetic and vocal primes, I'd say, delivering a genuine 10 out of 10 track. This is Game, again, behind Stevie. Aphex Twinning 143 says There Is a Light That Never Goes Out by the Smiths. Insanely timeless song. All-time classic for sure. I'd say my favorite song from these guys, period. Not that that's some unique take, but I thought you'd maybe like to know. Incredible lyricism from Morrissey, as you got from that guy back in the day. Incredibly creative stuff. And his voice was still nearly angelic. Beautiful instrumentation to back all that up. It's a banger. Very sweet track as long as your partner has no idea who Morrissey is and what he stands for. This is a recipe for success. This is Game. Behind Everlong. Reggie Gas says, And You and I by Yes. So beautiful yet exciting at the same time. Incredible track right here, off of Close to the Edge, comfortably the band's magnum opus. And while it's much smaller in scale than the title track is, this track still has a lot to chew on, to be honest. Really beautiful acoustic riff that kind of persists throughout the song. It might drag a little bit, but not enough for me to audibly complain. Though it was enough for me to tell you. Sit with that for a second, man. I don't know. S tier. Above Stone Temple Pilots. Gazer Production 7706 says Real Love by Beach House. I'm a big believer in love being something that just finds you. When you search for it, it eludes you. But when you let go and stop trying to find it, when you just allow yourself to be your most natural self, it inevitably finds you. The song is about that connection. If you like Dream Pop, Beach House is considered on the same level of importance as Cocteau Twins, though this is admittedly one of their more minimalistic pieces. I'm familiar with Beach House's Game, but to be frank, this song might be my least favorite of the tracks I've heard from these fellas entirely. I've only heard the 2 albums, but didn't really do much for me. A lot of their songs do have that Cocteau Twins tang to them, where the production almost takes it to another place. This track just doesn't have that. Very stripped down, by far the simplest track I've heard from them, and I can't say the execution was too out of this world. Very sweet track lyrically, though. I just wish this track had a little more to chew on. I'm going to say A tier, behind Paramore.
Even though my eyes are hazy and my thoughts, they might be...
I'm Ammo says, Mama, You've Been On My Mind by Jeff Buckley. Pretty sweet track, and the second Jeff Buckley mention, I think. I can't remember, I wrote most of this yesterday. The Bob Dylan cover, it's pretty obvious that's the case from the song's structure itself, but instead of Bob Dylan, you've got arguably the greatest vocalist of all time delivering the lines, and I gotta say I prefer this cover to the original. Forgive me, Bob. This is Game. I'm gonna say above Common. Aaron MWW says, All That I Know by Rocket Ship. I'm completely unfamiliar with these Rocket Ship fellas, and while I can't say my life has been changed for good, my life certainly hasn't been changed for bad. Pretty unique track at the very least. It's got some pretty strong production. I do enjoy the vocal delivery quite a bit. Once again, there's nothing really to hook me into this track. Nothing knocking my socks off my feet. I think this is the top of the B tier.
Thinking of the better things in life. Thinking of how I could persuade you to become my wife.
The second Tony Soprano says Lady Brown by Nujabes. Phenomenal production with some beautiful lyrics. Absurdly peak shit right here. I'm rapidly becoming a massive fan of this Nujabes fella. And this song is absolutely one of the reasons. It's some of the greatest production within the rap scene, period, I'd say. And some really sweet lyrics to accompany that gorgeous beat. I'd send this one out. I'll say this is Game, Behind Entombed. Quark414 says All I Want to Do by Beach Boys. Another incredible track from the Beach Boys right here. I've really got to give these guys a glance, man. Super sweet shit. Borderline unmatchable vocals on this song, I'd say. The harmonies, the layering, especially for its time, it's just indescribably beautiful. Incredibly sweet track. Easily this is Game. I'm going to say Behind the Pumpkins. Green Anolis Carolinisis says Your Pain Is Now Mine by Title Fight. Fun fact, this song was originally written by guitarist Shane Moran for his wife. It's such a heartfelt track and a standout on their most underrated album, in my opinion. I have no idea what's under or overrated from these fellas. I've just heard that one song, you know the one, with the fan. The ceiling fan, that one. Coming into this song fresh, I've got to say I had a pretty terrible time, but in a good way. Pretty great track, all things considered, but certainly got an inherent sadness. A sadness I'd liken to Misery if that didn't sound too harsh. Behind In Rainbows and Banger, but no shot. Oliver Southall says Unison by Bjork. I'm not too familiar with Bjork's game for a reason I can't explain to you today. Probably won't be able to explain to you ever. Thank you for your time. This is peak stuff right here. Very immersive and almost larger-than-life track. You get yourself a nice pair of headphones, and you'll start floating like SpongeBob did that one time. Or at least that's what happened to me. So much going on in this track, and yet this beautifully simple message. This is what it's all about right here, dear viewer. Behind my white pepper bias, this is Game. Your Neighbor Totoro says Love Song by The Cure. I mean, it's a classic, the definitive love song in my opinion. So many great emotions and melodies. I hate it and I want to throw up. That being said, it's the greatest song ever made. Something about this Robert Smith guy's voice just sounds so raw, so vulnerable even. It's just so absurdly goated, man. This is Game, dear viewer, but don't be using this one all willy-nilly, okay? Behind Just Like Heaven. D Penis in 84 says Nowhere Near by Yola Tengo. Pretty sweet track right here, really sweet riff that persists throughout the whole song, but the highlight here is certainly the vocals and the lyrics themselves, I think. It's a very tender and heartfelt track, added by what I think is a very heartfelt delivery by the vocalist. I had fun, this is good stuff. I'm gonna say S tier. Behind Yes. Real John Nickelback says Summer Romance by Incubus. Really sonically distinct from the rest of the album, and a unique song in general with heartfelt music and vocals. Definitely a unique track from these guys, especially at that point in their career. Honestly, despite the name, I never really viewed this as a love song, though. I don't really know why. Got a very light and upbeat sound to it. I really like the song. It's one of their best, maybe, but I don't know how tender it's getting me. Does that make sense? Top of A, I think.
Just like the ocean, always in love with...
Ekneek7719 says Opened Once by Jeff Buckley. Dear Ween Man. I Choose Echoes by Incubus. My girlfriend said Opened Once by Jeff Buckley. Going with the missus' response today, but thank you for correctly addressing me as Ween Man. That means a lot. This is all a psyop to include as much Jeff Buckley as I physically can in one video. And with this third inclusion, I've activated my full passive. I will say this is one of Jeff's simpler songs, maybe. And while that does let his absolutely angelic voice pierce through my ear canals, it certainly offers less of an experience as a lot of his other stuff does, I'd say. Very sweet and tender track, though. Some of my favorite vocals from this guy, period, on this track. This has got to be Game. I'm going to say Behind the Snake. Ari Main says, Is It a Crime by Sade. Amazes me with how she makes something so simple, so poetic, and wistful. Like if you play this with your ex in the car, you might as well give away the play, 'cause damn. I don't know what that means, but this song is a banger. I haven't heard much of Sade, but everything I have heard has been fairly incredible. That's no different here. Absolutely beautiful instrumentation, most notably this little piano piece that makes me want to lift my car off the ground just to feel something. Absolutely unreal vocals on this track. This is incredible stuff. This is Game. I'm going to go behind Jeff Buckley Prime.
She caught my eye.
Virtue7574 says She Caught My Fancy by Ween. I did the Ween bias bit already, but dear viewer, this is the greatest shit since sliced bread. I think this is the singular sweetest song I've ever heard in my life. It makes me want to cry. I don't want to talk about it anymore, but it's the greatest thing I've ever heard. Top of this is Game, I'm afraid. My Ween bias has no limits. Chivox1999 says, Her and I, Slow Jam 2 by King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. My favorite love song by them. Another pretty sweet track here. Certainly not your typical love song, but it's got that King Gizzard sauce drizzled all over it. A very fun listen. I just don't know how romantic it is, if that makes sense. Got the lyricism required to pass the exam, but sonically I'm far too busy getting groovy, to be honest. Banger, but no shot. I'll say behind Radiohead. Jackson5629 says, I See Myself by Geese. A great modern love song that isn't so overly lovey, if you know what I mean. I like this answer quite a bit, and it's not because I'm Cameron Winter from Geese, for that's not true. It is a very interesting angle on love, I think, a very fresh take within a relatively oversaturated genre. As far as modern love songs go, this is damn near the cream of the crop, very sweet track. I'll say this is game behind Racing Mount Pleasant. Katos Luco says, Entre Nos by Pluto. Well, I don't know. It's in Spanish, and I barely understand Spanish. It could be really sweet. I wouldn't really know. Tricky to rank a love song in a different language, but just going off the music itself, I don't think it translated all that well. Kind of reminds me of Failure very loosely, but vocally didn't gel with me as hard as that band does. I'll say back of B for this track. John R.E.7 says, Love Song by Alice in Chains. Lane's vocal performance is just mesmerizing. The instrumentation, such as the piano, is truly one of a kind. And the beautifully crafted sound effects added in are just so love-filled. It's ass. Why would I do this? Marinos 1409 says, Push It by Tool really gets the blood flowing. What? Shall we look at the lyrics together? Remember, I'll always love you as I claw your fucking throat away. I don't know how you get down, Marinos 1409, but I would not send this track to the missus, I'm afraid. Why would I do this? Death Grips Bulgaria official says, Turn on the Sunshine by Suckers. I'm back with them again. This song is very sweet and lovey. If only I had someone to send it to. It's solid stuff. I think that's what I said about the first track I heard from these guys, and I feel like I'm in exactly the same place. It's not knocking my socks off, but it's not bad by any means. Sweet lyrically. Vocals are a little AJR-ish, dare I say, but nothing else resembles AJR's music, so that's good news. I'll say B tier above Pluto. Oliver Southall says, Your Eyes by Tatsuro Yamashita. Maybe the greatest of all time. I'd put it in the conversation. This Tatsuro Yamashita guy doesn't really miss, I don't think. At least I haven't heard the guy miss. And this song is entirely in English, which helps me understand quite a bit here. Very sweet track, some shit I could see sending to the missus, to be honest. Beautiful in every single aspect. The lyricism, the vocals, the instrumentation. It's like Luna by the Smashing Pumpkins, but on steroids. I hope this helps. Top of This Is Game. That's all I have written here. Thank you very much for watching, dear viewer. Subscribe if you enjoyed, maybe. And I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.